Happy Monday, everybody. So, I'm having one of those, not necessarily nostalgic days, but one of those days to where you kind of get caught in your head and you got all these things going on and your brain is racing. And it's not always a negative thing. Sometimes it's really good at helping you figure things out. Fortunately for me, I've always had a really short attention span when it comes to a lot of things. Attention problems, but as an adult I've learned how to utilize that to multitask and to be able to do many different things at once, and sometimes it takes a lot of wrangling to manage to keep them all in line with each other. That way, what you're doing is congruent with what you're supposed to be doing. So I can usually still focus on my work pretty heavily and still sort through my thoughts as I'm going through the day. That's kind of a blessing. I can run numbers constantly. It's part of what I do for a living. It's numbers, it's math, it's measurements, it's everything, and code. And so it's kind of worked out. But today I wanted to talk about love. Love has by far got to be the most powerful force that we are able to feel as people. You have so many different theories and ideas, and you've got the people that don't believe in romantic love, and they don't believe in the separation of platonic and romantic, and things of that nature. But to me, I feel much different about that. Now, where I'm at in life right now, my stuff's kind of it's been sidelined, and that's because I've got specific things that I'm working on that I refuse to let anything else get in the way of. As an adult, I have grown in a lot of ways, and that I'm really proud of, and these are good things that have helped me be able to share, not just with myself but with others, when it comes to kind of opening up and being more human, I guess. But the problem that I run into is I become fixated on things, and it kind of drowns out things that I know that are more important at the time, because you can balance that in life, and I've struggled with that. That's one of the things I've struggled with, and there's a lot of learning curves that I've been through, and I'm stubborn. I'm ridiculously stubborn. I will bang my head against the wall 1,000 times before I get, okay, this is a bad idea. But when I do figure something out, I got it. And so I wanted to touch base on that, on a little bit of how I feel about this situation. The first, and I've said this a lot. You can't. If your cup's empty, you can't share. How can you fill someone else's cup if your cup's not full? So we all know the importance of self-love, but the practice of it is so uncommon to people. They don't understand how you're able to love yourself and love other people at the same time, or how to love yourself, how to do these things that are important for you. And people they start to become codependent, and when you are basing your happiness, when you are basing the things in your life around another person, you are setting both of you up for failure, or whoever you're leaning on that heavily. Because in turn you're not being yourself, and you're also not allowing them to be themselves. Because in an ideal relationship, you've got two independent people that are doing their own things, and then they also have their life together. Everybody's got to have their purpose. Everybody's got to have their passions, the things that they're about that make them themselves. We run into these situations to where people feel they need to be around each other 24/7, and if they are around each other all the time, they feel they need to talk constantly, and it's just constantly touch and interact. Now, I'm a rather affectionate person, but I've found that balance. Like, yes, I'll walk by my partner and I will touch them every single time I walk by, but that doesn't mean that I latch on every time. It doesn't mean that every single time I have to grab them and pick them up and spin them around. Just a gentle touch, just a show of love, of passion. I'm a firm believer in making sure you tell somebody you love them before you leave and before bed. you never know, and it's important. But I've also learned that it's nice to be able to just share space with somebody. It's a fantastic feeling when you can just do your own thing with someone around. You're both doing your own things and you're just enjoying a comfortable silence. You don't have to fill it with noise and nonsense. Those are things that I appreciate about love. But we tend to forget when giving love that love is it's all forgiving. It solves everything. It truly does solve everything. It's application that's the problem. We give our love freely, but when we're lacking in something, instead of trying to figure out what it is that's wrong and fixing that ourselves, we tend to start adding strings and expectations and conditions. That's the best word. You add conditions to love, and when it's not reciprocated, you feel that someone's not doing their part, or that you're not loved enough, or that all these things go on, and then you tend to lash out, and it turns into obsessing about things that aren't there, and that's where anxiety forms and insecurities form, and things turn into just this big disaster, and nobody wants to deal with that shitstorm. Most of the time people will, but after a while you get frustrated and you start withdrawing, and that happens with men and women. When a man doesn't act like a man, starts falling back into the super beta traits to where they're dependent and they're needy and they just cannot focus on their own stuff, it really puts a woman in a position to where she can't feel comfortable being a woman. And when a woman can't feel comfortable being a woman, she has to step up and be a man. It's just the way they're wired. And there's not a quicker way for a woman to lose an attraction towards a man than for him to start acting like a woman. It's gonna happen from time to time. You're gonna have a bad moment, you're gonna have a weak moment, you're gonna have shit going on in your life that you just can't handle, and that's when you lean on your partner and just know they got you. But at the same time, your partner's always gotta know that you've got them too. These are just a byproduct of love. They're byproducts of relationships. They're part of what's there. Because sometimes love is the only thing that's going to get you through a hard time. Sometimes love is the only thing that's going to make you say, okay, I really don't like this person. I don't like the way they're acting. I don't like the things that are going on. I don't like any of the things that are happening in our life, or their behaviors, or their actions and choices and decisions. But I love them, and I know who they are, and I'm going to help them remember who they are. And that's our jobs. The people may disagree with that, and I get at a certain time when it starts to take away from who you are and what's happening, and you realize that you can't fix somebody, and that's a very true statement. You can never fix anybody. You can just be there while they fix themselves. You can be support, you can be guidance, structure. Everybody's got different personalities when it comes to these kind of things. Everybody's got different strengths and weaknesses, emotional capacities, and they don't always have to match with your partner and match with the people in your life. But you've always got to be willing to work through the things that are there that separate the good and the bad. You've got to remember the good times during the bad, and you've got to embrace the good times during the good. I think I screwed that up. You got to remember the good times during the bad, yeah. But that doesn't always mean that you need to sacrifice everything you have going on in your life because things are hard. This is a time for growth when there's struggles, and there's never real problems that can't be overcome. Any problem in life can be looked at as an opportunity. It should be looked as an opportunity, because it is. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for learning. It's an opportunity to feel something that you might not have understood before. And this is great because you can take something away from it in the end. And even say things don't work out, that's okay. As long as you did exactly what you were supposed to do, you can leave that situation guilt-free and know that everything's going to be all right. Just the same as sometimes you got to step away from a situation for a while, and it really lets you know if it's important or not. It really lets you know whether or not it's something that you're supposed to invest your time in, if it's supposed to happen, if it's meant to be. And this is another side effect of love. You know, we get so mixed up in how we feel and what we think that we forget to do our parts. You know, we forget that, you know, it's a team effort. It's two individuals doing their part. You know, it's never 50-50. No matter what you want to say, it's always 100-100. And you know, there's going to be days to where somebody's got to put in 150. Somebody's going to have to put in 190 where the other person's only got 10% to give, and that's okay. You still love them through that. You don't hold that against them because that's where they're at. You love them where they're at in life at all times. Even when you're not together, even when you've moved on and went on your separate ways, you still love those individuals, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be, you know, a partner. No matter what it is, you still love them wholly. And you focus on you, and you know, everything happens the way it's supposed to. You know, we affect that a lot with our choices and decisions and the way we approach things, but in the end, whatever path's been laid out for us in life, you know, I'm not necessarily a religious person. I do my best to understand things. I have feelings, I have presence, you know, things like that, but I try not to base too many of my decisions when it comes to certain things on that, unless you are in a situation, because not everybody's there, and you can't really guide anybody through something if they don't feel the same way you do. But you can go off of a baseline of something that everyone shares. And you know, what's meant to be is gonna be, no matter how much you fight it. The only thing that you can do is make sure you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing so that you have the best opportunity and best odds for success. You know, this is going to be probably a multi-part thing that I bring up from time to time, because there's always so much to add to it, and I don't like making these things run for 45 minutes because I can talk for that long easy. So, you know, I'd like to hear some people's thoughts. I get feedback from time to time, and it's really nice. So, you know, feel free to share, comment, email me, text, whatever, and share your points, and maybe we can have a discussion about it. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.